Hello everyone, my name is Alice. I am a student from Hong Kong who's currently studying in the US. Today I want to share my experience of studying abroad, and I hope that it'll help you in some way, or maybe you'll just find this interesting. So here we go. I actually never thought about studying abroad when I was a child. I was very shy. I was scared of people who weren't Chinese and didn't speak my language, and I was definitely very bad at English and just didn't want to deal with any of that. And I was very comfortable with Chinese, very comfortable with my own school, my culture, and I thought I would just stay in Hong Kong my whole life. When I went into secondary school, it just became a very different atmosphere. With I remember my classmates being quite noisy, quite rowdy, and I just didn't feel like I was able to study in that environment because there were 30 people in this class, which is normal by Hong Kong standards, but when you're with a room full of teenage boys, it gets a bit much. But as I got older, I got more adventurous. I wanted to see what the world was like beyond Hong Kong in an educational setting. And also at the time, my classmates were just getting rowdier and noisier, and it was hard for me to focus. But more importantly, I wanted a complete change of scene, a completely new environment. So I was interested in studying abroad, and I'm very grateful that I was able to have that opportunity, to have that option. One day I was walking in the MTR and I just saw this ad by British Council about studying abroad in the UK. So my father and I went to this fair, and we found this advisor and after a few meetings, it became clearer that I did want to study abroad in the UK. So before I knew it, I applied for a school called Oundle School, which is a British boarding school, and I found myself sitting the admissions test, and before I know it, I was in England in this new strange world. The first year was really hard on me because I was actually really homesick, as any 13-year-old would be, I suppose. There were a lot of things I struggled with, but the biggest thing was the social aspect of it. Now, I spoke English well at the time. I watched a lot of British shows just to prepare myself to improve my English. But even then, I was very shy. I didn't think people would like me, and it was difficult to get my peers' references. So they would quote a TV show, and I wouldn't know what the TV show is. So there's a cultural and language barrier. Sometimes they would use British slangs that I've never heard of. So it was hard to make friends. I was really close to just giving up and going home. I remember I would Skype my parents and I would just cry. I'd be like, "Mommy, can I please go home? I'll just apply to any school in Hong Kong. I just want to go home, please." I was so lonely, and it was especially bad in the winter because the nights were long, it was cold, and it just had an effect on me coming from sunny Hong Kong. The next 5 years were actually really enjoyable for me. Each year I just got more comfortable, and I still have a lot of fond memories spent with my girls in the boarding house, because there were 60 girls living in the same boarding house, and it was just really fun. It was like a sleepover party every night. Sometimes it gets a bit annoying, but on the whole, it was really fun. And academics wise, I'd say it's definitely different to Hong Kong, because Hong Kong it's very much about memorization and writing according to what your teacher wants you to write. And I would say in England there was less of that, and writing more like questioning what you've been taught and trying to come up with essays. Obviously science it's kind of the same, just need to get the answer. But the last 2 years were really stressful for me with university applications and A levels, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. I liked all my subjects, so I had to change my subjects many times. So that was really stressful for me. But otherwise, I had a good time, I'd say. Okay, so next I want to talk about whether you should go studying abroad. I personally think it's an invaluable experience. As I said, I was a really shy kid, and studying abroad and living in such close proximity with so many people made me confident. And I had to be confident because I was with people 24/7. So it would definitely improve my social skills and just being very adaptable to different cultures and to understand other people's needs. That said, I'd say it is very expensive. That's the number one thing I'd say. Like, as much as I liked my studying abroad experience, I don't think I should have gone so early because my parents had to pay 30 something grand in pounds, which is about 400,000 Hong Kong dollars, I think, a year, which is immense. My school in Hong Kong was much, much cheaper, and I think when a child is so young, they should really spend more time with their parents. I think it's really up to you or your child to decide that. You can't make your child go or make yourself go. And what's different about British and American universities? In terms of grading, a US university would probably use GPA just like an American high school. So they would track any, like, your attendance, the quizzes you've taken, your tests, and many your homework scores, etc. And that GPA stays with you for the whole 4 years. It'll just average out throughout the entire 4 years in the classes you take. Whereas in the UK, if you get more than 40% in your first year, then you pass your first year and the score doesn't count. Your degree classification, like whether you get first class, second class, third class, that depends on your second year and your third year results usually. Another main difference is that in the UK, you apply for a subject and you're expected to not change that subject. You're supposed to stick with it for 3 years or more. Whereas in the US, you usually apply to a university and you can explore different options, explore a range of classes, and then make your decision usually in your second year. And you choose to major in a subject. You can major, double major, major and minor, etc. So it's a lot more flexible and it's more tailored to you personally. But there's some merit to the UK system too. Some argue that the UK system allows you to specialize and really be an expert in your subject, whereas in the US, you might not have that depth. You have breadth rather than depth. But I personally like the US system more because I'm currently double majoring in economics and computer science, and I would never be able to do that in a British university, except for maybe a few, like St. Andrews. And outside of my majors, I can take so many different classes, like something that's completely unrelated. Last semester, for example, I took African history, which was very eye-opening to me because African history doesn't make up a huge part of my curriculum so far. So it was really interesting to learn about that, and it has nothing to do with economics or computer science. Also, another thing to watch out for is that if you want to go into law or medicine, you might want to look at the UK more, because in the UK you can go straight to law or medicine at university, whereas in the US you have to complete your college degree before you go to law school or med school. So that's gonna take more time and more money and more effort. I'm gonna stop there for now. Thank you so much for watching this video, watching me ramble on. Let me know what you want to know about studying abroad. I'll talk about sort of the non-academic side of things a bit more in my future videos, so watch out for that. Thank you so much.